Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently quite negative financially. Luckily we have a lot of levers to pull for that. So we're going to go ahead and bring up our taxation level, I think to medium taxes. That puts us relatively positive financially. We're going to look to lower those taxes back down eventually, but for now that should do the trick. We're quite notorious still. We're working on bringing that down as well. But what I really want to do here is work on spending down this debt a little bit. That'll take some time, and work our way through this construction queue. 53 weeks on that, so we'll let that happen, and our infamy is just slowly dropping over time, right? So for the time being, that'll do. We'll go after Oregon fairly soon. Not quite yet, though. If our infamy is over 100... then according to this tooltip here, great powers will be able to start the cut down to size diplomatic play against us. So that's functionally like the punitive wars in Europa, right? So that's fine. We did just get plastics, so houseware plastics would actually be really, really good. That immediately allows us to drop our taxes one level. I love it. So that's great. That does mean our oil is going to be very low. For the time being, I'm okay with that. We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. So we're going to finish up these glassworks. The munitions plants will finish up as well as the shipyards fairly soon. But more importantly, all of these power plants are finishing up. Plus 25 maneuvers per diplomatic play. That's not bad. Cool. And the election happens. Okay. So the Working Men's Party wins with 79% of the vote. We're still on a righteous government. I'm actually going to bump our taxes back up while we are spending our way out of debt here. That's looking good. We will drop those taxes again eventually. But for now, we need to make our way through this construction queue, right? That's the biggest thing here. We've got 46 weeks on it, and these power plants are actually getting fairly close to done. I'm going to bump up these munitions plants. I didn't realize they were still down there. So we'll get those done first, and then we'll work on the power plants after. This is looking reasonably good, though. We're running an oil input goods shortage, and we do have some market access issues in New York. We'll get that dealt with, as well as in Durango. Looks good. So that's all in progress. I'm expecting we're going to need more infrastructure in California than this. So let's actually build a second railway there. Cool. And once we're done with all of these, like, ridiculous constructions, then we're going to be back into auto-expand, and our economy will just start going great guns again. That's fine. We're going to have way too much electricity here. I think that's pretty clear. But we'll not need to expand our electricity for a while. So that should be reasonably fine. We're currently researching arc welding. We're 20 months away on that. Sure. Oil's been discovered in Kansas. Presumably we already have oil rigs there, right? Yes. So these will auto-expand over time, especially with us having this oil input goods shortage. That said, we probably should manually expand enough to where we aren't going to have an input goods shortage. So I'm going to put in 8 in Illinois for economy of scale. I put in lead mines. What? Hang on. I did not intend to do lead mines. That was intended to be oil rigs. Okay. Where are we going to build these? This makes more sense. So this will be in California, looks like, and I'm going to put in 5 in California. That makes a lot more sense. That probably does mean another railway in California, and we'll go ahead and queue that up. Plastic production was successfully completed. That is indeed the future. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to get those oil rigs done in the eventual times. We've got 43 weeks left on our construction queue with those railways added in. I want to check, have we started to see any auto queuing happening? No. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not shocked about that. Our munitions plants will be finishing soon, and we're lacking taxation capacity in Ohio and in Pennsylvania. Okay, so we'll get that built up there. Some government administrations. Hello, pause menu. You made the game very laggy briefly. Thank you for that. Okay, so California has found more oil. Gold rush in California as well. 20% gold fields building throughput or 125% migration attraction. We're going to get the migration attraction. I think that's honestly more valuable. Cool. Can we build additional gold mines? No, sadly. But that is all reasonably fine. So we're making a lot of money right now. We're mostly just putting that into paying down our debt, right? That's our primary goal there. We're just looking to pay down that debt. And we're looking to get all these power plants finished up and just generally our California constructions. There's a lot being built in California right now. No doubt about that. Let's check in here. What do we have going on? Explosives are expensive. Ironclads are expensive. And we're going to need more market access in a few locations. Possibly in California, but I think it'll overall be okay. And we're still working on New York and Durango, so those should be reasonably fine. The dream, huh? Unrealistic expectations in California should be fine, to be honest. Should be completely and totally fine. What do we got there for standard of living? Oh yeah, we're okay. Gold has been discovered in Victoria. Okay, good for them. The Rio Grande Pipeline. Yes. We'll go ahead and do that. Cool. So we're going to be done with our power plants soon, right? We've got 30 weeks left in this construction queue. And all of our buildings are actually being worked on. We're not maxing out our construction right now. Fascinating. Well, we'll go ahead and let this drop down a bit. 28 weeks here. Cool. The way this is calculated is not very good, in my opinion. If they change one thing that isn't, like, war-related in the next patch, I want it to be how this is calculated. I want this to be the real time, not the amount of time for the last thing in the queue. Because that's not exactly accurate. Like, we can change this to whatever we want it to be at this point. But we should start seeing some auto queue happening this week. Beautiful. Lots and lots of oil rigs queued up. I like to see it. Okay, so what do we got going on? We're still running an oil input goods shortage. Market access in California is still low and will likely require another railway. Our power plants are going to be done in, at this point, 22 weeks. Looks good. And we're actually saturating our construction at this point. I like it. How are we doing on our credit? We still owe about 10 million pounds, which is not ideal at all. California is going to require more taxation capacity. So we'll get a government administration in there. I'm not shocked about that. There's a lot of construction going on in California right now. That's for sure. But we should start to see our GDP start to increase a little bit more steadily than it has been. So that's good. Cool. We're paying off about 1/3 million per week here. So we'll be out of debt here very soon. Very, very soon. And at that point, we'll lower our taxes. We could honestly almost go down to very low taxes. By the time we have this gone, we probably can. Realistically. We're going to be finishing up these oil rigs in 4 weeks. I think it's fine. Especially as our market access in California continues to come up. It's not as high as we'd like it to be, that's for sure. We are probably going to need an additional railway, actually. If this is at 85% right now, my rule of thumb, which this is not exactly an accurate rule of thumb, but my rule of thumb is that we need 1 railway per 10%. That fluctuates wildly, right? That's definitely not gospel truth. No doubt about that. But it's a decent rule of thumb, and it served me well. So the way I use it is just in determining how many to queue up, right? I want to be on the conservative side of queuing up railways rather than overbuilding them. So I build, like, if we're at 85 like that, I want to be building 2 railways to take us up to 100%. Because I just assume that each one is going to add 10%. It won't, but that's the assumption. Just to keep things on the conservative side there with the railway construction, because overbuilding railways gets very expensive very fast. Are we not subsidizing our railways? Hang on. We are. Okay. Because I was just like, we're paying like 17K in subsidies. Okay. So our railways are actually reasonably profitable then. I like it. So we're going to be done with our California power plants in 2 weeks. That's great. Russia's damaging relations towards us. That's bold. I guess they probably look at this and they're like, oh, they have an army power projection of 248. But what they don't realize is we can crank this up to a ridiculous number very quickly. And we're still increasing our number of flotillas. So that's all a thing. It's going to be very interesting. No doubt about that. Okay, Mexico is currently in turmoil. That's fine. Looks like California has dropped to 77. So at this point, we want to have 3 railways queued up. There we go. Excellent. And this is just a way to keep us from overbuilding the railways, right? I don't necessarily expect that that's going to take us to 100%. And in fact, I would prefer that it didn't. So we're getting all of these constructions done. That's looking good. Indeed, that's looking very good. We are about to be out of debt. So the first thing that we want to do is drop our taxes down, right? And we can actually afford to do that. I'm going to wait for one more tick here. There we go. Now we're in gold reserves, and we're going to cut those taxes. The next thing that we want to do is bump up our government wages. We don't quite have enough to do that. So between government and military, that would be what, 180, call it? Something along those lines. Oil rush subsidies are expiring in Mississippi. Sure. But all of this construction is now occurring. Excellent. I do want to continue keeping an eye on that market access in California and Ohio. Okay, we'll build a railway in Ohio. Polish people are migrating to California. Cool. So let's see. 2 is the correct number to be queued up in California right now. That's looking good. Rubber has been discovered in Nicaragua. Okay. Wouldn't mind taking some of that over, but for the moment, we're still letting our infamy drop. We're down to 60, so that's getting better. Definitely. It would actually be a nice little balancing thing if increasing your government wages beyond here gave you more infamy drop. So that way you could essentially pay for infamy drop. I think that would be nice. And that would be like funding your State Department or whatever, right? It'd be interesting. But as it is right now, I don't feel like there's a reason to be on high or very high government wages unless you really need the authority. And I find that that's not hugely necessary generally. So this would be 100,000 to increase this. We'll need to increase our economy to be able to support that, but look at our economic expansion. It's going well, no doubt about that. California is going to require another government administration. Oil has been discovered in Ohio. I'm assuming we already have an oil rig there? Yes. Cool. So let's check in on the railway situation here. 2 is still the correct number. Looks good. And we're up to 55 million now. We're currently projecting an annual pop growth of over 1 million. That's insane. I love it. Okay. So this is all looking good. We're going to finish up arc welding in 10 weeks. So once we're done with that, that's going to increase our building capacity again. Our economy is still stretched a little bit thin right now. It's going to be a lot more thin here in a moment. We may have to increase taxes again. We'll see. That said, finishing up all of this basic stuff, all of the, like, base material extraction, should be fine. That'll help it a lot. And yeah, we've still got that insufficient taxation capacity in California. Oil rush subsidies expiring in South Dakota. That's fine. Cool. But all of this raw resource extraction that we're seeing coming in here is going to help matters quite a bit. As well as this motor industry expansion. I like that too. Ironclads and explosives are expensive. Why does Bunyoro owe us an obligation? I'm so confused. Let's see. Bunyoro is like Great Lakes region, isn't it? Yeah, Bunyoro's right there. Or not Great Lakes, plural. Great Lake region. I don't know why they owe us that obligation, but whatever. I don't care. That can expire. Completely and totally irrelevant. Cool. So we're going to get arc welding this week. This is going to be a thing. We'll see how much it stretches our economy. Wait, did we not get it? We didn't get it. This week. That's right. I always forget that it goes down to 0 days. There we go. So there's arc welding unlocked. So we now can grab arc welding for our construction sectors. That's going to be pretty expensive. And we'll see how much that stretches our economy. But I do want to come over into production here and grab something along the lines of mechanized farming for the moment. That seems okay. Now, we do have some production methods that arc welding opened up, specifically in our shipbuilding. So arc welded steamships. There we go. Cool. So let's see what that does to our economy. I expect it to be pretty yikes. Yeah. This is reasonably yikes. And we'll see what's expensive. Explosives, electricity, and steel. California still has insufficient taxation capacity. So I'm going to put in another government administration there. 369,000, huh? That does mean that we need to turn up our budget here. Turn up our taxation. So that's noted. But realistically, with how quickly we're going to be building now, should be fine. We should recover this very, very fast. Like, whoa. That's almost a vertical line for the GDP. That's insane. Okay. We're slightly negative even with our taxes on medium. I expect this to be recovered fairly soon. We have an input goods shortage of ironclads. That's fine. Swedish people are migrating to Ohio. And we have some market access issues. So Pennsylvania, New York, and California. I guess we can call those the usual suspects at this point. And we still have that insufficient taxation capacity, but that's okay. Can we afford to drop our taxes yet? No. But we are reasonably positive now. But we're building so fast now. Against the odds, huh? Navajo people don't have full rights, and let's go ahead and let segregation erode. That'll be fine. We are, after all, communist, aren't we? I mean, we're still a presidential republic, but our party in power that's been in power for this whole time has been the Working Man's Party, which I'm pretty sure is just straight up communism. Agrarian, particularist, and frontier expansion. The Whig Party is... Yeah, well, we don't have, like, the trade unions in here, I suppose. Vanguardist. So, it's a socialist party, but it's not really a communist party. Okay, noted. We're fairly negative right now in terms of our income. I expect that to turn around eventually. With the rate at which we're constructing right now, definitely. Our infamy has dropped down to 50. So that's a pretty major reduction. I like it. It's going to dip down below 50 soon. We can probably think about attacking Mexico or even Oregon. As a hypothetical sort of thing. I'm not actually going to do this, but if we were to do this, this would be 11.7 infamy, 7.3, 7.1, 8.7. So let's assume worst case scenarios here. That would be 40 infamy. We could handle that without becoming a pariah. That would be interesting, actually. That said, our economy is stretched very, very thinly right now. And we really, really shouldn't go to war with our economy stretched this thin. We can afford to let our infamy drop. We're not wasting time on that. So I think we continue to let our infamy drop. And we work our way through our constructions here until our economy is a little bit more online. That's looking good. What about law changes? There aren't really many changes that we can make. Noted. I feel like I note that every episode, but it's the same every episode. I'm interested in getting those changed, but there isn't a lot of changes to be made. So we definitely need to continue to expand railways. I'm checking through here. Texas needs a railway. California has one coming in, as does Pennsylvania and New York. So that should all be good. We need more taxation capacity. That's only from government administrations or society technologies. Okay. So obviously we need government administrations in California and in Ohio. So we'll continue putting those in. Out of curiosity, yeah, this is fully employed. We just need that taxation capacity. Okay. So that's fine for now. We'll continue to put those in. Pennsylvania is going to need a government administration as well. So we'll get that put in. And we'll complete a lot of these soon. We have an input goods shortage of ironclads. Okay. Are we auto-queuing shipyards? We should be. We aren't. Let's go ahead and auto-queue those. Power plants as well. Not all of those were set up for auto-queue. I want to check through all of these, make sure that they're all set up for auto-queue. Obviously, gold mines can't all be built. Cotton plantations should be auto-queued. Rubber plantations, yeah, but we can't build them all, unfortunately. Oil rigs should be. I would like to build more rubber plantations. Alas, we cannot. Okay, so are we still working through our gold reserves? We are. Good. North German people are moving to South Carolina. Sounds great. Psychoanalysis was unlocked. Okay, sure. Oh, what is this? Revolutionary Mesquidia versus Great Britain. For the moment, we're not going to get involved in that. It's going to get crushed, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to declare neutrality here. I'm not interested in actually doing anything there. I am interested in getting our economy stretched a little less thin. It's very, very thin right now with us being on arc welding. This construction speed is tremendous for 1887. Absolutely insane, in fact. So we're going to work through all of this. Of course, these only expand when their cash reserves max out. So eventually, we should run out of places with maxed out cash reserves with the speed at which we're building. But there are so many possible locations that may not end up actually happening. That said, look at that economy growth. Absolutely insane. We're at minus 40k right now, but that is going to improve. We are starting to build up some credit, which I don't love, but I want to check in on our taxation capacities and on our market access. Okay, in theory, railways should auto-expand, but we're just going to make sure that these areas are getting railways. California is going to need one, and Bajío is going to need one as well. In theory, Texas should need 2, so we'll get another one going there. That's a bunch of railways queued up, and that's all looking good. We have a little bit of credit built up here, but that should get paid back fairly soon. I want to check in Ohio and California. Okay. So California is going to need an additional government administration, as is Ohio. That's all reasonably fine. And look at all that getting auto-queued. I love it. That's all looking good. That's actually a lot of livestock ranches. Okay. Well, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to work on getting our economy stabilized. And by stabilized, I mean to a point of construction where we can turn our taxation level back down, have no debt or deficit, turn our military wages back up, and turn our military up here. For now, though, you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, and Lohan80, Kentogan, Nick Smarty, Dimitri8, Punching the Microphone, Spartan News, Unisil, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.